Here's the truth that no one tells you about self-awareness. Knowing yourself doesn't automatically make you better. It doesn't even make you kinder. You can spend years in therapy or read every existing self-help book, but none of that matters if you don't do anything about it. And at the end of the day, even if you're self-aware, you could still be hurting people. Think about it. Self-awareness is information. It's like a map. It shows you where you are, it shows you where the dangers are, but having the map isn't what actually gets you to the destination. Actions do. Change does. That's what gets you there. And that's the hard part. Most people just stop at the map. If this sounds familiar, believe me, I get it. I've been there. I know myself better than anyone else knows me, and I can name every trigger and pattern that I have. But guess what? My awareness didn't protect anyone from my actions. My awareness didn't protect me from being less than who I wanted to be. So if you know your triggers, why are you still using them as excuses? Ask yourself, are you actually self-aware, or are you just really good at explaining away your behaviors? And more importantly, who is paying the price for the parts of yourself that you understand but haven't yet changed? This week, I want you to choose one action from this video and apply it to your life. If you're watching this video, you're likely already self-aware and you have a solid map. So let's pair that with some action and get you to the destination. One of the first options you have to choose from is to be proactive. I want you to sit down and write one thing that you want to work on or that you want to do differently. Something that causes stress or causes harm in your life. Let's say, as an example, you snap when you're tired. This week, I want you to get more rest. I want you to get more sleep. I want you to look at your schedule and rearrange it if necessary. For example, reschedule difficult conversations or lighten your load on some days or cut your day short so that you can go home early and rest. If you notice yourself getting tired, find ways to re-energize. But the goal this week is to be proactive and not reactive. The other option that you could choose from in this week's topics is to ask for feedback from someone that you trust. Go to them and bring up things that you're working on, that you want to work on, or go to them and say, hey, I want to work on something this week. I'm really self-aware, but I actually want to work on things actively and I need your help. So you might ask them, what could I focus on this week? What do you think? Or you might already have some things in mind. And when you're getting their feedback, make sure you listen, make sure you don't get defensive, and make sure you hear them. And again, make sure it's someone you trust because you want this to be encouraging. You don't want this to be somebody that's just going to knock you down. You want this to be productive. You might say, hey, if I start to get irritable this week, can you gently remind me that I'm working on it? This is what, I would want you to say to me. Or you can just ask them to give you feedback on it throughout the week. All right, another option for this week is to focus on one of your relationships. This one is a little bit different than just focusing on your own behaviors. This one is focusing on a relationship that you want to work on or that you want to mend or that you know that you might not have always shown up as your best self to. So this one is more relationship oriented versus individually oriented. An example of this might be I take too long to apologize after I get snippy, or I don't apologize at all. This week, if you start to get irritable, apologize immediately and tell them you're sorry. Let them know that you're working on it and see how it helps your relationship. At the end of the week, once you look back, ask yourself, did this have an impact on my relationship? All right, the next one is to replace an unhealthy habit with a better one. So there's all kinds of advice on how to break habits, how to replace habits, but something that I've found that works for me is either pairing the habit that I want to break with another one so that way I can transition into the habit that I want, or replacing it altogether with a healthier one. So for example, I've struggled with my temper, and a lot of times I can get irritable and snap quickly at the ones closest to me. So about a year or two ago, I started doing this thing where instead of just getting irritable and snapping, I noticed that I could feel it building up inside myself. I could feel it bubbling. And when I started to feel it bubbling, I told myself, I need to say this out loud and I need to name it. So by naming it, not only was I letting the other person know that I was getting irritated, but I was also letting myself know and giving myself a cue of like, okay, I might need to take a step back. So anytime I would start to get frustrated, I would always say, I'm really starting to get frustrated right now, or I'm really getting irritated right now. And by naming it and by saying it out loud, it almost stopped that bad habit of just getting irritated and snapping. and it put up a barrier between my reaction and the reaction that I wanted to have. So by naming it, I was able to recognize it, and then I was able to walk away and take a deep breath. So think of something like that for you. The big thing about this one is you have to start small, and you have to remember that progress is not perfection. You're not going to be perfect at it, and that's what it takes to build up a new habit. So don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect right away. It's baby steps and consistent practice. Okay, so the last one, hopefully it's not too big of an ask, but I wanted to throw this one in here. So if none of the other options resonated, what I want you to do is every single night before you go to bed this week, I want you to either pull out a note in your phone or physically get a journal or something that you can write with. And what I want you to do is I want you to write 1 to 2 sentences about things that are related to what you're self-aware about, and then write how you did that day, whether it's something good or whether it's something bad. So a small example might be, I'm super self-aware and I know that I can be shy and timid. And I was in a meeting at work today and I didn't speak up even though I want to work on that. So that's like kind of a minor example. So I want you to do this every single day for 7 days. And then I want you to look back and I want you to reflect where your actions didn't match your self-awareness. And I want you to use that as insight and either work on the things that you want to work on, but also track your small improvements over time. So this is a very simple thing, but if you're not really sure where to start or you can't just write down things that you want to work on right off the jump, then this is a good way to help you kind of figure out what you should be working on or what you want to work on. It's going to guide you to the next step. Self-awareness alone is not a solution. It's not going to get you to where you want to go. Your actions will. Pick one thing, just one. Could be small, could be even a small portion of what we talked about today, and apply it to your life this week. Because remember, progress isn't perfection, and it's not about failing. It's not about not being perfect. It's not about not getting it right. It's about continuing to show up time and time again. The person that you want to be isn't going to come from knowing yourself better. It's going to come from doing something differently. So I challenge you, pick your one action today, take that step, and watch how it changes everything, not just for you, but for the people who matter most. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, bye.